Thank you, Steph. So we've all heard the COVID warnings from the city's top doctor, but yesterday, Dr. Eileen de Villa sounded more somber than ever. Have a listen.
I've never been as concerned about the threat of COVID-19 to your health as I am now. Not at any other point in the pandemic.
Okay, so the issue that they're watching here, new variants of the virus that are surfacing quickly. We now have 56 confirmed cases, another 283 cases screening positive. It's the same story in Peel region, where variant cases are also on a rise. With that in mind, both Toronto and Peel asking the province to hold off on lifting the lockdown order and keeping that stay-at-home order in place an extra 2 weeks to try to control the spread. The mayor is appealing to the province to keep things as they are.
We need to ensure that this lockdown that we're presently in is the last one. I support Dr. de Villa's recommendations for the City of Toronto because I believe we have to do everything we can to avoid a third wave.
And Mayor John Tory will be joining us this morning just after 7 o'clock, so we'll ask him more on our fight against COVID here in the city. Well, it has been more than 2 weeks since Health Canada indicated that an approval of the AstraZeneca vaccine was imminent, but it still hasn't happened. And Health Canada is still exchanging information with a British-based company on its clinical data. But if it's approved, almost 500,000 doses could be received in March through the vaccine sharing program COVAX. Canada has also bought 20 million vaccines directly from the company. It would become the third drug company to be supplying vaccines to Canada. Now, this morning, Canada's top physician, Dr. Theresa Tam, will be joining us live for the latest on the COVID-19 pandemic and answering some of your questions as well. And that's coming up just after 9 o'clock. Well, Premier Doug Ford is being criticized by opposition leaders after they say he made a misogynistic comment toward NDP leader Andrea Horwath.
Why don't you come and join us to support the people of Ontario for once, rather than just sit there and criticize and criticize. You know, it's like listening to nails on a chalkboard, listening to you.
Now, the comment was made in a heated exchange during yesterday's legislative session as Horwath pressed Ford on his pandemic response. Green Party leader Mike Schreiner called the comment misogynistic and said the Premier should apologize for his comment. Liberal leader Stephen Del Duca also calling on Ford to apologize, adding that misogynist rhetoric like this has no place in the Ontario legislature.
At the end of the day, when the Premier doesn't like being questioned, doesn't like being criticized, he goes to the worst possible place. That's just who he is. But who I am is somebody who's going to come here every day and fight for the people of Ontario, regardless of the kind of mud that the Premier is going to sling.
Horwath says she does not need an apology, but the Premier should apologize to the people of Ontario. The federal government is expected to introduce new reforms aimed at reducing overrepresentation of Black, racialized, and Indigenous people in the criminal justice system. The long-awaited legislation will be introduced today by Justice Minister David Lametti, expected to address ending mandatory minimum sentences and implementing new measures to divert people out of the system if they are charged with minor offenses. Mandatory minimums have been widely criticized for amplifying systemic inequities in Canadian jails. Okay, your time now is 6:07. We've got a very busy morning here on BT. Coming up in about 10 minutes' time, we are going to take a look at the weather that's happening in states like Texas and why these record cold temps and winter storms are sending parts of the country into crisis. We'll break it all down with Frankie in just a bit. And coming up next, if you needed gas, hopefully you filled up yesterday. We are waking up to prices that we have not seen this high in well over a year. What's behind it all? Mike Eppel. He's next.